Hi friends, it's Jessie with the Legion Homestead here, and we are going to start dinner early today because I'm going to make some sourdough biscuits and let them ferment for the day before I make dinner. Dinner tonight is going to be chicken pot pie with biscuit topping instead of pie filling, instead of pie crust, because I'm not a huge fan of pie crust, so the biscuits will be more filling for my family and just I will enjoy them more. So we're going to start with the biscuits this morning. So that is 2 cups of unbleached flour, 8 tablespoons of cold cubed butter, that was loud. You can use your hands to just get in there and do the thing, knead it all around and make it into little pea-sized flour-coated pieces. You can use a pastry cutter, or you can use a fork. I've always used a fork. My husband started helping me make biscuits and insisted we needed a pastry cutter. So now I have a pastry cutter. But just get in there and just move your bowl and cut in the butter. Having the butter cold makes it stay in like a little piece, so then you'll have a buttery, flakier biscuit once they cook up. There you go. So you can kind of see the little crumbles in there. Then I'm going to add 1 tablespoon of sugar. Okay, a little more than 1 tablespoon of sugar. Half a cup of milk. Buttermilk is best, whole milk, whatever you have, just use it. And then I need half a cup of sourdough discard. Half a cup of sourdough discard. It's loud. If you do start working with sourdough and sourdough discard, be sure to rinse your stuff off right away because that stuff is like glue onto things. So I'm gonna go do that now. Okay, now we're gonna use our Danish dough hook, and I'm just gonna mix this up. I'm not gonna overly mix it. I just want everything to be moist. It starts coming together. You can put your hands in there. Do it however you want. I just washed my hands when I washed those things off. So I'm going to get in here and just kind of knead it a little bit till the dough just comes together. And there I have it. Wash my hands again. Okay, and then finally, I am going to try to help speed up the process on this, I'm going to put it in my oven on bread proof, covered. So I bought these little shower caps at Walmart. They come in a package for like 97 cents and you get a whole bunch of them. And I just use those to cover my breads. I'm just going to do that and leave it in the oven until it is ready for me to cook with. Okay, we're back, and here's our biscuit dough. Looks beautiful after being in the oven all day on the bread proof setting. So now we're going to add the last of our ingredients. For anybody wondering, I'm using the Farmhouse on Boone sourdough biscuit recipe. It is 3/4 of a teaspoon of salt. Sprinkle it on there. 1 teaspoon of baking soda. I always like to put it in my hand and make sure there's no clumps or anything. And then 2 teaspoons of baking powder. Just fluff that everywhere. Same concept. We're down at the bottom of this one, so this one. Just seeing a few clumps. And the last little bit, it's in here. But it's about another teaspoon. You can do this through the sifter. You can do it however you want, or don't do it at all. Makes a mess. Now that we have our other ingredients, the 3/4 teaspoon of salt, 1 teaspoon of baking soda, and 2 teaspoons of baking powder, we're going to mix it together really well. It's really soft. Okay, now I'm going to put down flour on this silicone mat of mine. And I'm going to put my biscuit, woof! I'm going to put my biscuit dough right here and kind of just smoosh it out. This recipe doesn't call for this, but I always like to make some layers in my biscuits. Adding it all on top. Okay. And they're maybe 1/2 inch thick, I don't know. And we are going to cut them. Just going to use a jar. Just press it down. There's a biscuit. Flour over here. There's a biscuit. Just straight down and up. This one's suctioned. It's funny because it just takes in air when I push it down. So then it's weird feeling. And these biscuits are very light and fluffy. So I'm going to do the same thing. Just gather all that dough up, pat it all back down. You don't need to work with it too much. Just keep doing that until you're out of dough. Okay, and then I easily got 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 11. So I'm going to just take this one, what's left, probably just form a little baby biscuit out of it. Now I'm going to let all of this just sit here and chill out while I heat up and get the filling ready, and then we'll put it all together and put it in the oven. Okay, so I have my pan heating up. I have 2 jars of the chicken pot pie filling. I actually have turkey in it, but it has like mushrooms and potatoes and carrots and peas, all the yummy things, and turkey obviously, in a nice turkey bone broth that I made. So I'm just going to heat this up with a cornstarch slurry to thicken it, and then I'll put the biscuits on top, and then we'll put everything in the oven. First, preheat your oven. 400 degrees. There we go. There's a little hum to it, so hopefully you can't hear that too badly. For my cornstarch slurry, I'm going to use cornstarch and heavy whipping cream because that's the only milk I have right now, so we're going with it. Cornstarch slurry is really simple. I don't even measure, I just put my ingredients in. Cornstarch, probably about, you can't see it. That might be too much, that much. And then equal parts liquid. Let's put it back on. And then we just, it's a little, see how thick that is? That's way too thick. More liquid. Just keep going until it's the right consistency. So it's like, you just want it thick and but ready. I do have 2 quarts of this turkey pot pie filling. One. Just a disaster today. 2. Put these in the sink. Get everything washed up. Wait until this comes to a boil. I have it on medium high. Okay, now that we're bubbling, we're going to take our slurry, mix it up again really good, and then pour it in while stirring. I don't need all of this, so I'm just going to do a little bit. Let the whole thing cook and see how it thickens. So I'm just going to let it cook for a little bit, see how it thickens. If I need more, I can add more. I'm going to add a little more. Oh gosh. Always taste your cooking just to make sure that there's enough flavor. If you need to add something, you can now before it's finished. I definitely need something. Goodness. So I'm going to add salt. And pepper. Wow. Keep stirring so it doesn't burn to the bottom. Clean spoon. Much better. Just needed a little salt. Now with this, I'm going to take my biscuits. See how thick this is? It's pretty thick. It's too thick. Anyways, I'm going to take my biscuits and I'm going to plop them right on there. My little tiny one right there. That was perfect. So I'm going to put this in the oven at 400 degrees for about 18 minutes and then I'm going to check it. Okay, it's done. It's been 18 minutes. It's a little bit brown on top, but I think we're fine. I'm going to let it sit for a few minutes, and then I'll have my husband try it for you. So we're going to take a biscuit. And some of the filling underneath. What about the biscuit?
Really good.
Is it really good? Do you like the biscuit?
Mm-hmm.
Isaiah.
The biscuit is light and fluffy on the inside, but crunchy on the outside, so it's good.
Yeah. What about the filling?
Filling was really good.
Was it really good?
Mm-hmm.
You ready for dinner?
Yes.
All right. Thanks for joining us, friends. Hi, it's the next day, and I just kind of wanted to go over what we have eaten during the pantry challenge previous to last night. We did have a lot of things left over from our holiday break where we kind of were a little more indulgent than usual. So that will also be included in some of the things that we have. So it's not all completely pantry. And our challenge isn't necessarily just only from our pantry because we do eat a lot of fresh fruits and veggies. And so I keep those stocked. We also, use like the butter and the like cheese things and milk products, I guess, that I purchase because we do not have dairy animals on our homestead. It's just we have in the past, and it's just not something that we enjoyed. It kept us extremely tied to the property, and we are pretty active. We like to go on day adventures, and we like to do certain things. So having dairy animals was just a little too constrictive for us. So we do purchase those products. I am looking into herd shares because I do want to maybe look into start making my own cheeses and things just because I think it would be fun. But in Michigan, we cannot purchase raw milk from just anybody. You have to purchase a herd share in order to do that. So we're looking into a cow herd share and a goat herd share because I love goat milk and I love goat cheese. So that's kind of something we're looking into. And it'll be easier for me in the wintertime because I live in the cold north. It'll be easier for me in the wintertime to do cheese making projects while everything else is kind of down and at a lull for the moment. So maybe that'll be something we try together in the near future. It is really hard for me to make videos when I'm making dinner because at that time everybody in my house is home. It's a little bit of chaos. There's, everybody's like waiting for dinner to be done and there's a lot of noise. So I'm going to try to make more like dinner recipe videos or whatever, but just know that it might be a little chaotic like last night's was. So what we have had so far, at the beginning of the year, I made a big batch of tuna, and I did like the viral tuna salad that's going around right now with the peas and the corn and just a bunch of other ingredients. And I used both the peas and the corn that I had canned in the basement, and I made homemade mayo to go with that. That was so good. And we had some leftover rolls that we had purchased at Sam's Club as an indulgent thing because it was the holidays. My husband was home, everybody was home, and it was just easier to buy the things than it was to make the things. And it's kind of our splurge time, or maybe lazy time where I just rest and relax and spend time with my family. So we use that. I did put caramelized freeze-dried onions on top of it, and it was so good. So that was like our lunch for several days. Another lunch that we do really often is snack plates, where we just find some things that we have in the fridge, whether it's like a piece of cheese, some of the fresh produce, pickles of some sort, like whatever. We have my mustards, my homemade mayos, like for a dip. I've done kimchi a lot, eggs, pickled quail eggs. I often do hard-boiled eggs, and I steam them so it's easier to peel the farm fresh eggs that we have. So sometimes I get jammy eggs, sometimes I get harder boiled eggs. It just depends. One of our indulgent meals was ahi tuna. I seared up some steaks and made sushi plates out of those. My husband generally eats his as a salad, so that's what he had with a homemade balsamic vinaigrette. I have homemade pickled ginger in the fridge, and I used the sriracha mayo that I had made. So it was a little bit pantry, but not very much because most of it was just fresh. I do keep the little snack size nori sheets in my pantry because we do love those. We love to snack on them. I love all things sushi, so we do have that quite a bit. So that is something I do keep on hand, but it's not something obviously that we make or grow. This week I made 2 sourdough sandwich loaves and 1 sourdough boule. The boule was supposed to be for someone else. I'm probably not saying that right. It was supposed to be for somebody else, but it didn't turn out how I wanted, so I just kept it and then made them a different one. So my oldest that lives at home still, he will generally eat toast with peanut butter on it every day. So I make sure I have sandwich bread stocked up. My 17-year-old really loves sourdough, so it's nice to have it all on hand. So I like to do it like once a week instead of repeatedly doing it day after day after day. We did have one day where we went out to dinner. We generally try to make our going out to eat intentional and go to a place like that we wouldn't normally go, or where it makes things that I don't necessarily make. Like when we went, we had duck confit croquettes that were absolutely amazing. Absolutely amazing. Now I want to make my own, and I do have ducks in the freezer, so that might be on the menu. It was amazing. They had a pickled apple on top of it and some fig jam with a little microgreen arugula. So I'm like, I think I can do that. So maybe I will. And I had just a French dip sandwich with some malt fries, and we all shared a dessert of a Bailey's creme brulee that was absolutely delicious. And I kind of now want to try to recreate creme brulee at home. And my 17-year-old has been saying he wants to make creme brulee. So maybe that's also on our agenda soon. I don't know. We'll see. I usually meal prep when my husband goes to work. I breakfast meal prep for him. And this week he just wanted some overnight oats. So we used some oats, some milk. I generally use Fairlife milk for that. So it's like higher in protein, lower in calories or whatever. And I did oats, chia seeds, the milk, and then he just wanted maple brown sugar. So I just added brown sugar, local maple syrup, and some cinnamon to it. And he said those are amazing, but he said next week, please make me peanut butter and jelly overnight oats. So that's on the agenda for next week. For the dinners that I cooked out of our pantry, we recently butchered our pigs and we made brats, but instead of putting them in the casings, which some of us in this house do not enjoy the casings, we just made brat burgers out of them. So I have tons of packages of brat burgers now. But so we made brat burgers, and then I used some leftover mashed potatoes we had, and I made those into potato balls with some of the cheese from our charcuterie in the middle. They were a hit, definitely. Everybody loved that meal. It seemed pretty simple, but it was really delicious. I made fried rice. With the rice, I used chicken bone broth and corn broth to cook it. And then when I cooked it, I used like our garden garlic, our garden onions. I used the peas and carrots that I had um, canned from the garden. I used the corn that I had bought locally and canned. I used some frozen peppers from the freezer that I dice up and freeze in gallon bags and then just get out what I need. I used those. With that, I served some Costco soup dumplings because we love those over here. And I have everything to make my own soup dumplings. I just haven't done it quite yet. So that is on the list. And I also made some edamame that I have frozen from the garden. Um, I made gochujang edamame out of that, so that was absolutely delicious. This was the first time trying the edamame that I had grown from the garden because I don't know, I was like skeptical for some reason. It was absolutely amazing, which is a good thing because I got 5 gallons total in that freezer downstairs for me to use up before next year because I'll be growing it again. Absolutely delicious. Highly recommend edamame from the garden. It's amazing. So we had chorizo bowls over with potatoes instead of rice, and I just take the potatoes and I cube them up and I coat them with whatever fat I decide. I think I used lard this time, and then I put taco seasoning on them and I just throw them in my air fryer. And then I make the chorizo, and then we just topped it with some cheese sauce that I had previously made and froze, and then salsa verde and salsa ranchero to top them. They were absolutely amazing. I also took pinto beans that I had canned in the basement with onions and jalapenos, and then I drained them and added some freeze dried cheddar cheese and hot sauce to them and kind of mashed them up. So I made my own version of refried beans to serve on that. So we had potatoes, refried beans, chorizo, the cheese sauce, and then the salsas on top. Absolutely delicious. I make that a lot and I love it. Pretty regularly, I will make things that are like a store-bought food, but I will make them homemade as a convenience food. Like I will make pizzas, like personal pizzas, and then freeze them for my family, or raviolis or pierogies. So I had about a half a gallon bag of pierogies left from a huge batch that I had made at a different time. So we had sheet pan pierogies with sweet Italian sausage from our pigs. We had some fresh broccoli in the fridge, so I just made a sheet pan meal out of that and just like took little balls of the Italian sausage and just put them on the pan, put the broccoli on there, coated those with a little bit of fat so I could put some seasoning on it. And I think I used Kinder's cowboy butter. I cooked the pierogies like halfway in boiling water, and then I drained them and put them on the sheet pan, mixed everything up. I put them in the oven at 375 for 10 minutes, flipped them, and then did another 10 minutes. And then when I took them out, I just kind of mixed everything up and we served it. It was really good, and I will definitely be making that again. But I have to do another batch of pierogies before I can because I used the last of them. Then we had the turkey pot pie, which you saw last night. It was really delicious. Everybody enjoyed it. Those biscuits were amazing. I will definitely be making more. And we were eating dinner, and everybody's like, this might be really good for biscuits and gravy. So I'll probably have to do some biscuits and gravy with those biscuits soon because absolutely worth it. And tonight we are going to have vegetable soup and beef broth that I canned from like Garden Goodies last spring. And I'm going to serve that with just the rest of the sourdough brulee that we have left. So it's going to be simple, it's going to be easy, but it's going to be delicious and homemade. So that is all for this week. Thank you so much for watching. And thank you for all the amazing feedback on the pantry tour video. I really appreciate it. You guys are amazing. Bye.